Hello, everyone, and welcome to another special edition of the iWorkinSport live interview. This week, we're hosting the Meet the Programs Week. That's a series of live interviews in which a selection of our academic partners are presenting their courses and are here to also answer your questions. So these are programs that will be at the upcoming Education Virtual Expo. You just saw the ad. That event will happen next week from the 6th to the 8th of April. So if you haven't done so, you can still register for free. There's a link in the description. There you'll be able to meet many of the most important programs in sports management, have a face-to-face chat with them, with their staff, with their alumni. So if you're interested in possibly investing in education, go check it out. If this is your first time here, nice to meet you. My name is João Frigerio. I'm the founder of iWorkinSport. And if you don't know iWorkinSport, we're a platform made to help you boost your career in sport. We basically connect talents and recruiters, especially but not only through our events, either digital or when it's possible in person, while we also promote career growth and education, always in sport. So if you want to know more, you can always go to iWorkinSport.com or also find us in our social media channels. We're everywhere at iWorkinSport. So let me start by thanking you for being here with us. So if you're just connecting now, it's great to hear where you're watching from. So let us know, and we'll, get you in the conversation at some point. So prepare your questions. And of course, if you can, hit that like button if you're watching it on YouTube. If you're interested in this type of content, subscribe to our channel and hit that bell sign that will, notify you every time we have a live video. Now, let me introduce my guest. Today, we're going to talk with Michele Petochi. He's the Business Development Director at the Josoor Institute, which is the education and training arm of the Supreme Committee for Delivery and Legacy, the organization leading Qatar's preparations for the FIFA World Cup in 2022. As you may have guessed, right, by his name, he's Italian, but is based in Doha at the moment. He has been the director of the World Economic Forum for many years and also the managing director of the EPFL, that is l'École Polytechnique Fédérale de Lausanne, or the Federal Polytechnic School of Lausanne, among many other important roles until he recently moved to Qatar. So he will tell us a little bit more about his career as well and how he started now working with sport. This is the first time that the Josoor Institute will participate in the iWorkinSport Education Virtual Expo. So it will be great for all of us to get to know them better. So if you're planning to attend, it's great to have that information in advance before you connect with them at their virtual stand. So I'm looking forward to that. Let me get Michele here. Ciao,
Hi,
Michele.
Joao.
How are you?
Ciao. Very good to see you. How are you doing?
Good to see you too. So I see it's already evening in Doha.
Very much. So, yeah, we start early and the night starts early as well.
Cool. Listen, before we jump to questions, why don't you give us a summary of your career? I already mentioned a couple of jobs, but tell us a little bit more about you.
Yes, thank you. First of all, thank you, Joao, for having me here with you guys this evening. And my colleagues and I are really, really happy to have this opportunity to collaborate with iWorkinSport for this Education Expo. A little bit about myself, as you mentioned, World Economic Forum and the PFL. Just to clarify, I was not the director of the organization, but I was a director in the organization at the World Economic Forum. I actually spent several years working in engaging the academic community, so basically the top universities, think tanks, research centers worldwide, with the business community of the World Economic Forum. It was quite an amazing time for me. I had the privilege and the opportunity to spend time on campus with some of the most amazing minds on the planet, young and older and senior and more junior, including pretty much in every region of the world. And the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology, on the other hand, is an amazing technology machine, technology powerhouse with an incredibly international student and researcher community, and with the spin-offs all over Switzerland, Europe, and beyond, and including actually colleagues from my country of origin, which is Italy, but also from countries in the MENA region, for example, etc. Personally, I grew up in Rome, in Italy, supporter of Roma, as you can imagine, and
there you go. This is for you then.
Thank you so much. It's that is where I grew up. I have a fairly, I would say, diversified career trajectory, because I had the opportunity, I had again maybe the privilege to be able to make different choices throughout my professional life, which is not something that everybody can afford. That is very important. Also, probably towards the conclusion of our conversation, we will realize the extent to which probably sports and events management education is a fairly interesting management experience that can be spent in many sectors, actually. Right. But so I grew up there. I initially worked in international development aid, a bit in Africa, and then in Afghanistan. Then I worked in Brussels, where basically the European Commission funds different projects worldwide. And then I quite randomly I ended up working at the World Economic Forum because they found my profile interesting for them, and they were opening this new sector about academic engagement. In parallel with that, what was really interesting, and again, I was probably lucky to be at World Economic Forum during those years, around 2010, 2012, a number of new players in education, especially online education, started to become fairly visible. Coursera, edX, etc. And because the World Economic Forum is a platform that follows closely every new interesting development in industries, what happened was that the topic of education became one of the central topics on the agenda of the World Economic Forum community. So when we used to run surveys with executives from all industries, almost all of a sudden the topic of education emerged as one of the main ones. And so it was great for me to have a chance to curate, to be a bit of a coordinator, excuse me, of dialogues and policy discussions about the future of education. And that is something that I have kept with me throughout my entire professional journey. And guess what? In the last few months, that's something that has come quite handy.
How did you end up going to Qatar then?
So what happened was that at some point, a couple of years ago, I started to get intrigued by two things. One, by the general notion of football as one of the few things which basically brings everybody on this planet together, at least for a few weeks every now and then, and that I found it powerful. So it's something that is very easy, that is very instinctive. It's across generations. It's a sport. You just need an object rolling, and that's easy. It's amazing. It's quite natural for human beings. And I also like the notion of sports as a bit of a positive sublimation of conflict. So that is something that resonated a lot with my background and with my curiosity. And then the second thing was that I was fascinated by this incredibly compact, comprehensive edition of the World Cup in Qatar, where every single colleague, every single citizen, every single person is basically involved, because it is a fairly small, it's a small area. Yeah. With a high concentration of stadiums, activities, and when you say that everybody's involved, it is true. Everybody is involved, and that makes it different from all the previous editions. Of course, amazing editions, but different. And that made and then I started to explore that. And long story short, I was given the opportunity to collaborate with my colleagues at the Supreme Committee for Delivery and Legacy, and in particular with the Education and Training Division of the Supreme Committee, which is Josoor Institute,
right?
Which is which in a nutshell is a very strategic capacity building venture with an interesting legacy aspect, because it is one of the projects that will continue to exist after the tournament.
So explain to us then what is exactly the Josoor Institute as an organization, maybe the size and highlights. Before you do that, just to let you know that here we have a fairly international audience. So there's some people already saying hi. So Salvatore Sabato, I imagine from Italy, saying hi. We have Yuri Dominguez in São Paulo, Brazil, Daniela in Switzerland, and Atif saying hi from Bangladesh. I can see that there's more people watching us as well. So if you can let us know where you're watching from, that would be great, so we know who we're talking to. So Michele, about the Josoor Institute.
Yes, let's maybe I will start from the nationalities, because as we have a very multinational audience this evening with us, the Josoor Institute, as an education and training provider since 2013, has been engaging around colleagues from over 90 nationalities. With a large portion of them from the MENA region or based in the MENA region, but also a fairly international actually network. Josoor could be described as a small education and training organization. You could define it also as a small business school within a larger organization. Again, as I said, we formally belong to the Supreme Committee because we are part of this project, and our job over the last 8 years, we started in 2013, has been twofold. On one hand, we've been supporting the professional development of colleagues who are directly involved in the activities of 2022, including colleagues at the Supreme Committee and colleagues from organizations from the greater football and sports family in Qatar and beyond that. And at the same time, we've been providing education and training to people either from the sports or events sector or from other sectors with an interest in embracing a career in sports and major events management. In addition to that, there is also an element of hospitality, which we are very interested in, and that hopefully developing in the coming years, because both sports and events have to do a lot with hospitality. Because if you organize an event, usually people visit, and there is a whole set of hospitality industry related activities that have to be put in place. In terms of the main activities, the main deliverables of Josoor, we have a flagship professional program in sports management and major events management, which now is in its 5th cohort. We have graduated now around 300 alumni. 300. We call them delegates. The term in which Josoor calls its students is delegates. We like it a lot. Because it's a bit old-fashioned, if you will, but it's also fairly cool, because you are a delegate. It means you are really part of something, and that is what we really try to promote throughout our alumni community. More broadly, we have been providing...
Each cohort then has how many students?
Roughly between 80 and 100.
Right, and those courses are in person, or more half online, half in person?
It's a good question, which goes more in general to, as you can imagine, to the contingency that we and all the other colleagues have been facing in the past 12 months, but also to the strategy of Josoor. So this particular flagship diploma program is meant to be in person. As a matter of fact, it happens to be delivered at the moment as an online delivery. What is quite amazing of this program is that our partner, which is SDA Bocconi School of Management, which is the business school of Bocconi University, has a strong expertise.
Dino Ruta, our friend.
Exactly. Dino Ruta, Deborah Raccagni, Antonio Palmieri, and team. They have done an amazing job nearly overnight to basically switch from offline delivery mode into online delivery mode. It was a decision that we made very, very quickly, and they delivered amazing very, very quickly.
And just go back
yes.
on the... Sorry, because I interrupted you, and I want to let you go back to where you were, but just
yes,
talking about
exactly. Yeah.
So it's about 80 people, and for many nationalities as well, or mostly from
yes.
Qatar? How international?
Well, because as I said, one of our functions is to build capacity towards 2022 and beyond for the sports and events industry in Qatar and the region. Part of our participants are obviously from Qatar nationals. Other participants are based in Qatar. Doha, Qatar is a fairly cosmopolitan place with colleagues from the MENA region, including colleagues who actually grew up here, and colleagues from the MENA region who happen to work here, and then colleagues from everywhere, literally everywhere on this planet, who work here in different industries, in the sports industry, in events, in hospitality. They work with the airport, they work with Qatar Airways. So it's a very actually diverse and international community. Obviously, we pay a lot of attention to the Arabic common denominator. So all our activities are delivered with simultaneous translation in Arabic. Some of the activities are pretty much in Arabic up front. So like the other way around, because obviously, as it happens with every language, there are nuances and details that you miss in translation. I mean, I think after many years, my English is quite okay, but if I have to express something very sophisticated, it's easier for me to express it in Italian, for example, or in French, which are languages which are kind of closer to me and to my family. So that is very important to us. Back to the offering of Josoor, in addition to the flagship diploma program in sports and events management, we have leadership development programs, which are delivered in partnership with leaders in sports and other partners. And these are meant to be a mix of sports business education and leadership development.
Right.
So these are more for like middle to senior management in organizations, including our own organizations from, again, as I said, the football and sports family. And this kind of programs is in multiple locations. So in normal conditions, this program is delivered in 3 different locations, usually 1 week in Doha, 1 week in the UK, 1 week in the US. This is basically how it's designed. And again, it is a program which is now continuing online. And we really hope we can start to go back to physical delivery in the fall. This is very important to us. Again, it's as I said, there has been clearly a contingency which all of us have got to face, and that has been tough but very interesting. And at the same time, from a general strategic point of view, no matter COVID, Josoor was already working on developing online delivery. So it's been a great acceleration. I think we are now in a position in which we can deliver better what we already have, and we can deliver more in addition to what we already have. And the other thing I would mention, even though this is not strictly related to formal education, we deliver trainings for volunteers and workforce in preparation to 2022 and other tournaments in the run-up to that. And that is an incredibly interesting opportunity for us, because we really contribute directly to the preparation of 2022, and the kind of the community, the people that participate are fantastic. There is from people with all backgrounds who want to become volunteers, colleagues who work, in every sector, from taxi drivers to security people, all the people, back to the very notion of a compact tournament in 2022. Everybody is involved, really. So this is a matter of pride for us, and also it is incredibly interesting from a professional point of view. It also builds a fantastic network over time, which maybe this is another topic that might be interesting. We are trying really our best to gradually build a successful network of alumni and, more in general, friends of Josoor. We do that through regular activities. We do that through online sessions. We do that hopefully very soon, through physical events. And it's a community.
So talking about that community, so the alumni that you're forming, what is the typical then Josoor students, or as you said, the Josoor delegates? Just before you answer that, another...
Is that...
Just to say hi, there's some other people are saying hi to you from, just so you know, that's Andre from Argentina is watching us, Javier in Colombia, wow. Marcos Simões, great Santos fan, watching here from Switzerland, Maroa in Brazil, on LinkedIn, Marcos was watching on Facebook, Fanis in Greece, there is Sanket in India, Ahmad has a question from Pakistan. Ahmad, we're going to get to that in a second. Erika Frigerio here watching from Lausanne, and Regina Justo as well in São Paulo, or Barra Bonita, São Paulo, Brazil. So keep letting us know where you're from. Now tell us about, are the typical Josoor students as international as our audience, Michele?
We increasingly they are, because first, as I said, the cosmopolitan nature of Qatar and the project of 2022 and beyond, no? So this idea of an economy that goes also in a direction of services in sports, events, and hospitality management makes it very international. And also, as we develop new offerings with the main online component, we have an opportunity to reach out to an audience which has no borders, basically. So it can be interesting for and feasible for people everywhere. Now, back to your question. It's a beautiful question. Who is the typical Josoor delegate? I've been at Josoor for 1 year. Colleagues of mine have been there for longer, and it was one of the first things I was actually trying to understand was exactly that one. What kind of client we have, and it's a great mix of mid-career professionals in sports and events, broadly speaking. So people who have pretty good expertise in, for example, venues management, security management, marketing management, event management, and that want to step up their skills. Let's not forget that to a large extent, sports and events management belongs to the greater family, to the greater sector of media and entertainment. And boy, has there been so much innovation in that, call it digital, call it new distribution channels, call it everything, technology available for events, this kind of thing we are doing this evening, it was not available. I mean, was available a few years ago, but much more clunky, So these kind of things are make it obvious for somebody in this kind of sector to get to stay up to speed. So one main category is certainly colleagues from the industry. Another category is people who are not strictly speaking from the industry, but have an interest in learning more about a potential interesting sector for them. And this is an interesting profile of delegate, because very often these delegates have, for example, very strong project management skills that they have developed, in different jobs, oil and gas, engineering, or maybe they are colleagues from the media, or maybe they are colleagues who have been, very senior in procurement, which is an area that might sound a little boring, but it's to a large extent one of the fundamental areas in sports and events management. These are, and then more in general, I would say another fourth is we often have smart college graduates from the colleges that are in Qatar. So young professionals who either want to learn about a potential interesting sector of choice, or who want to connect with an interesting network. So this is the from a gender point of view, it is pretty 50-50. So we've been fairly well balanced, which is another matter of pride for us, because as we know, the sports industry traditionally, and by the way, the media and entertainment industry in general, is a bit of a boys industry. Nevertheless, first with these amazing performances of women colleagues in sports, and then with the evolution of the industry, and with so many jobs and so many expertise and skills which are now in demand, it is totally natural to have a gender balance for us in this. So I would almost say we don't even have to do a specific policy push in order to welcome colleagues from both genders.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. And what are the programs? So you mentioned the flagship program and a few others. Which of those are going to be featured at the Education Virtual Expo next week for people that are watching us now, or maybe in the replay, and want to attend the event?
So there are three programs that we think are interesting for the participants in the expo. Two education and training programs, and one platform more in general. So the programs we are going to share information about are this flagship diploma program in sports management and events management. It is also quite timely because we are opening applications for the new group, for the new cohort, in May. So it's, the time is very, very good. Yeah, then we are going to share information about our...
Can I just,
yes, please.
There, before you go to the others, so that main flagship program that starts in May, and runs until when exactly? When would be graduation?
Applications.
The applications in May. Okay, sorry.
No problem. No, the applications start in May, and it will start in the fall, and it will go for about 6 months until spring 2022. I didn't mention that this is a program organized into 6 weeks, of course, with the distance between the weeks and with the final project. So that's one. Then we will be talking about the executive leadership program that I mentioned earlier. There will be also a PowerPoint presentation available for people to browse, a very nice one. And I am also trying to have a few alumni available for questions. And then the third thing that we would like to emphasize is a bit between education and insight and information, and is our knowledge hub, which is a platform that features interviews, panel sessions, publications, and which increasingly we hope will become a bit of an intellectual backbone of Josoor going forward, serving the education and training programs, but also a larger network, so that it is an experience which is partly helpful if you are in Josoor education, because these kind of sessions, and usually you also participated in one recently, they provide with very helpful context for people who study at Josoor. And then they provide with insight. So if you are a student at Josoor in sports or events management, you might find it very valuable to participate in these regular sessions. The last series that we had was 2 weeks ago, and we had about 600 people who registered.
Sorry, before we jump to this, the HIVAR sessions, as you mentioned, that I participated in one. I found it super interesting. Also was super good for me all to connect with the other participants, other speakers that were there. So thank you for the invite. But if we go back to the programs, if we could maybe to each of the three of them, what would you say were their main strengths, like in bullet points? Okay.
The main
to make it very clear to everyone watching.
Absolutely. So there is one general strength across all these programs, which is obviously the association of Josoor to 2022, and that makes it not only, this is not a nominal association, this is something that makes Josoor activities very interesting, because we can involve colleagues who are really hands-on on one of the most ambitious projects in sports and events management ever. So that there is a strength that cuts across all our programs. Specifically to the different programs, the diploma program has the strength of the content. So the content is incredibly solid. It is delivered with, as I said, the Business School of Bocconi University, which not only is a top business school, but has also expertise in sports management. They are partners of the FIFA Master. They are partners of CIS. So they really know what they're talking about. And in addition to that, they tailor-make the content to the needs of our audience. And they also make sure that the level of interaction with the student, with the delegates, and between the delegates is always very high. So that's definitely a strength. And then the people are also a strength. So it's a very good network, which partly has a lot of energy, because these are colleagues involved more or less directly with the tournament in 2022, and with more broadly the development of the sports industry in Qatar and the region. And then you have other people. So there is a lot of diversity, which is really, really interesting. So it's a very good mix of diversity of background and also professional association. So that is probably the best mix you can get, because you have a bunch of colleagues who are used to work together, and they can also maybe in a way take a step back from their daily job, and they can work together on more experimental conditions. And then you have very smart people who come in, who jump in from different backgrounds, and it's a very, very, very good mix. So that as far as the program. As far as the executive leadership program, what makes them very strong is, again, the quality of the content and the experience is very solid, because our partner Leaders in Sports, together with their partners that work with us, deliver incredibly well, and also has a strong network which allows them to involve some of the top colleagues in the industry everywhere, which is also, by the way, a strong prerogative of Bocconi School of Management as well. So we can have, you have instructors or guest speakers from the highest level possible. You have stars from football, from Javier Zanetti, from Tusciavi. You can have the head of the conference center at the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology. So people who know what they're talking about, who know their job, who have amazing leadership journeys behind them and ahead of them, and that's really unique. In addition to that, the diplomas, the leadership development programs are meant to be tailor-made for specific groups. So, for example, there might be a group of colleagues from our own organization that, in collaboration with human resources, is interested to develop their leadership skills for the organization itself and for afterwards. And there might be other organizations, could be football federations, could be Olympic committees, could be all, anyone with significant stakes in the sector, who would benefit from stepping up their knowledge of the sector and their leadership skills. And these are very, very these are strengths. And obviously, another strength, which goes back to what I said initially about the association to 2022, you also have the opportunity of site visits, sometimes even sort of shadowing activities, and this is very unique. This is something that you don't get it every day.
Definitely not. I think that you're going to get a lot of people that are not in the region or not from the region interested in it. As you mentioned, a few other courses and programs that are established there. They have a large number of applicants from all over the world that move here to study in Lausanne or other parts of Europe or the United States. Do you want to welcome more and more people also applying from other parts of the world that would go there only to study? Or at the moment, you really want to service people that are already based there, even if they're international?
We are very open and eager to explore both. So on one hand, as I said, we have our capacity building vision and mission and goals, which we are fulfilling by helping form key colleagues and workforce and volunteers in the run-up to the tournament. And then in parallel, we want to develop more and more Josoor as an education and training organization of choice for people who are interested in learning in sports and events industry. Now, what is fascinating is that Josoor is based in a region which is emerging as a player in the sports and events industry in the last decade or two. Obviously, it is an industry here which is not as mature as the industry in, for example, North America, countries in Europe, Australia, you name it, but has this very strong energy of the up-and-coming player. In addition to that, let alone take aside COVID for a moment, traveling is now easier and easier, cheaper and cheaper in a way. So what I think one thing that the pandemic shows us is that the notion that there is online education and offline education, and that these are separate alternatives, at the end, these are part of the same offering. And so you can very easily imagine an online program. We're actually working on that for a very large audience. Maybe, for example, you are interested in welcoming students, delegates from the greater MENA region. You want to welcome students from countries in South Asia, right? And they don't have to come to Doha for like 2 months, so they may have to take a good portion of their course, their certificate, as an online deliverable, and then there might be ways to bring them to Doha, for example, or even to have them to travel to other locations for other sections of the program. So this is incredibly, we really see this as very organic. And by organic, I don't mean just a buzzword. It is organic. I give you an example. Imagine that there is a group of sports managers, trainers, federation colleagues who is based in Tunisia, for example. And we would create a specific program for them, which would be in Arabic, in French, with translation, etc. And we may actually go there to deliver part of this program. We may actually go there to do field visits to the local infrastructure, because let's not forget, your client is not only somebody that would end up working at Manchester United. Your client is also somebody that might be managing a club in Tunisia, right? Or in, I don't know, in Bolivia, in maybe in a province of Italy, right?
Right.
So, and maybe one day you can bring them to Doha for a few days or for one day. It's really fascinating how easy it is to have people travel. And obviously, we are also very mindful that for certain colleagues in certain countries, traveling is still expensive. No matter in absolute terms, traveling is cheaper than it used to be. And with that in mind, we will always be trying to have some kind of scholarship schemes at disposal. If I have a strong, if I have a strong candidate, a strong professional that I think would add a lot of value to the network of Josoor, and he's in Egypt, he's in Nigeria, okay, and the gap that prevents this gentleman or this colleague, this lady from taking the course is a gap of a flight. We do our best to bring this talent to us.
Cool. You mentioned quickly scholarships there. This is something that I want to ask you about. Just before I do that, I want to invite you to take a world tour with me, because there's people saying hi from all over the world. So let's say that's Alex in Peru.
Hi.
Abigail in Zimbabwe.
Amazing.
Yash in New Delhi. Otacílio in Brazil. Ejide in Rwanda, Musa in Nigeria, and Mame saying hi from Santos, Brazil. And as I promised, Ahmad there had a question about funding and scholarships. So he's from Pakistan. I'm interested in 1 year in the Mega Sports and Events Management Diploma of Josoor Institute. So there's already someone interested in your program there. But he's looking for funded programs. So is there a chance to get it fully funded? How do you have scholarship programs? How does that work?
So the answer is yes, but the answer is also that we issue scholarships on a case-by-case basis. So scholarship for us is goes back to the very core of building capacity in the industry, especially in Qatar and the MENA region. But we are also open to receive applications from very interesting candidates, and we try to consider every request within the limitations of the budget available. But as I said, it's very important for us to receive strong candidates that we think would add value to the international network of Josoor.
In a typical year, more or less, so if you have 80 students in the program, do you have a number of scholarships that you give? Is that 1, 2, 3?
It depends, because I deliberately said case by case, because there might be institutional agreements with some of the organizations from which the colleagues are from, which are, you might say, in a way, internal reallocation of resources within a government network. So those are also those are part of the scholarships, and we obviously have our part of our mission is to help build capacity in Qatar and the MENA region. So we try to pay attention to those candidates, but it is very case by case. It's hard to say whether 1 year we have 15 scholarships, another year we have 8. It really, I would say, it depends on the budget, but more importantly, it depends on the candidates.
Right. So Ahmad, maybe apply. Let's see how they find your application. Thank you for the question.
Yeah.
If there's anyone else there with questions as well for Michele, don't be shy. We're here to answer your questions.
I am also entering the email info@Josoor Institute. You can contact us any time if you have questions. My colleagues and I will be happy to answer your questions. We all read info@josoor.qa.
So let me see if I can copy this, and I'll post this for everyone to see. 1 second. Let's see how this works. Let me see if I can, on the fly, create a banner for everyone to see.
Yeah. Or you guys can visit JosoorinStitute.qa. There you go. Perfect. That's the one. Fantastic. You see,
technology.qa. We'll show that again at the end. Oops.
Yeah.
So I'm just pressing wrong buttons here at the moment. So
I think you stopped. No, we
stopped. Yeah. Sorry, it's a live show. These things happen. Michele, we mentioned the Hiwar sessions, the one that I participated. So those are regular online sessions. Maybe explain a bit better what that is and why that is important in your education strategy.
So that is important in our education strategy let me first say what it is. So over the years, in addition to its structured programs, Josoor has been organizing on a regular basis panel discussions, networking opportunities, anything that is rich in content, in people, and the platform itself to add value to our community. Over the last 12 months, partly because we were going to do that, and partly because we had to do that, we started to host multiple online sessions on a variety of topics. Obviously, some of the topics have to do with sports and events management. And we realized how important it is for people, especially in the current circumstances, to stay up to speed with what is happening, with how different organizations in sports and events are coping with this crisis, and also what are different ways to work in sports and events that might emerge as a consequence of this crisis. In addition to that, we are interested in topics of education more in general. We are interested in topics of sustainability, because that is a very, very important area for 2022 with multiple dimensions from an environmental standpoint, from an accessibility standpoint. So it is a very integrated concept. And we have amazing colleagues that we work with that have to share interesting expertise, interesting stories, interesting updates. So that is what we call Hiwar. Hiwar in Arabic means dialogue. And it is really meant to be a regular platform of dialogue for insight, for getting to know each other, for gathering ideas, for highlighting things that people have to be aware of. Recently, we have also included a strong component in relation to the job market, skills, career advice, which is something that our alumni have as a priority. We often have surveys with alumni, so we send them surveys about what keeps you awake at night, what are things that we could do for you better, what are things that you would suggest us to do, or topics that we can include. And one of the feedback was it would be interesting for Josoor to develop some capacity in career support, which is, by the way, a capacity that every educational and training organization has to develop. So Hiwar for us is a mix of content rich, insight rich, and strong network related opportunity.
And how can people attend that? Are those sort of free sessions? If they find links in your website, how can one follow those? Where do they find the programs? When is the next one?
The sessions are open to the public. You can find information on these sessions. You can find past sessions at the Knowledge Hub. You will find the Knowledge Hub at the Expo, but I will put the address here. knowledgehub.josoorinstitute.qa. You are welcome to subscribe to our newsletter. You can send us an email. We will be adding you to future invitations. Obviously, for us, the more people join these events, the more the network gets strong. So this is so important to us, also from a marketing point of view, if you will, because we strengthened our community. We have new contacts, potentially new delegates. And so it is an open platform with both a communication component and also, if you will, a commercial component. So this is, we believe that if you follow regular sessions of Josoor and you find out that the network of participants is very interesting and the speakers are good, and some of these speakers are also the same speakers who speak in the diploma programs, wow, so we are really gathering good feedback, and we're putting a lot of energy into this.
That's great, Michele. Listen, we're actually getting close to the hour mark, so it went by fast, but there are questions still coming.
Absolutely.
So very quickly, hi to Sunil in Nepal, in Bruno.
Hi, Sunil.
In
Hi, Bruno.
Peru,
Good to see you.
in Lima.
Yes, we met.
Host of the last Pan Am Games. So Asif Hussein has a question. So thank you, Michele. I would like to know the duration for the diploma program in sports management. Cost, in addition, is there opportunity for placements or of any kind? That was going to be my next question about placements. So let's talk about the dates or the duration, the costs, and then we also talk about the placements. Just to add, there's a message from him here. By the way, I had the opportunity to go to Qatar for the AFC Champions League East competition. I was wowed by the World Cup venues and all the arrangements that have been taken, and they are still in progress.
Thank you, Asif. It's great that you say that, and obviously all the tournaments in the run-up to 2022 are, first of all, incredible opportunities to bring people together from different backgrounds, and these are also interesting opportunities for us to test a lot of aspects in the run-up to 2022. To Asif's questions, specifically on the program, the diploma program has a duration of, in terms of calendar, it has a duration of roughly 1 year. As a matter of fact, to be consistent with the calendar of 2022, we are going to have the next group, the next 80 people, over a slightly shorter period of time. So the 6 weeks of the diploma will be distributed over 7-8 months. So it will be slightly more intense in terms of programming. So as I said, it is 6 weeks, each week focusing on a different aspect, on a different part of sports and events industries, from the logistics to operations to finance to marketing to the digital, and you name it. And then there is a final project which you do in collaboration with some of your peers in the program. It's a capstone project. And the cost of the program is around 33,000 Qatari riyal, which is roughly between around $9,000, $9,000, the equivalent of that. Quite similarly, the cost of the special executive leadership program organized into 3 weeks is in the neighborhood of 30,000 Qatari riyal. But it's a shorter but more intense, more tailor-made. You know, the group is a bit smaller. It's about 20 people per group, so it's really like an executive development program. And then I would say future.
About internships or
Exactly. I was about to go into that. While we cannot guarantee that we can, provide you with an internship, we can guarantee that we would put you in touch with some of these interesting organizations. By the way, as part of the Hiwar series of sessions that we had 2 weeks ago, we included one section specifically designed for our alumni. And what we did, we created breakout rooms for them to meet with representatives from key organizations in our network, from Paris Saint-Germain to Be-In, to Qatar Stars League, and so on. So we try to leverage our network as much as we can, and we try to strengthen our career support function, because that is something that reflects the demand from our students.
Right. So there isn't an internship of sorts as part of the program, something that they need to do it to graduate.
No, exactly. Strictly speaking, it's not like, for example, a master in which includes an internship. This is more like a professional program for mid-career colleagues, and that is the reason why, because their background is interesting. We do not hesitate to put them in touch with our contacts in key organizations, and we try to, I wouldn't say to push, but we try to help network with them.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for that. There was a sound that I wasn't expecting coming in, but thank you for that. In fact, Michele, that was, I think, the final question that I had was about internships. In fact, I may ask you as well about career advice. So if you don't provide internships, what sort of career advice then you would give to your delegates and alumni to wrap up as we're getting to the 1 hour mark?
So let me say two things. One is that we are increasing the time that we spent with our delegates and alumni to help them with career advice. That's one part. Now, if you ask me one piece of career advice that I might share, in a way, it goes back to my personal journey. If you are from sports and events industry, very often you work based on projects. So you might be very busy for 1 year, you might be very busy for 6 months, you might be very busy for 7 years if you happen to be part of this 2022 adventure. But then you always have to be ready to jump into new projects, and to that end, you need to to be very active from a networking point of view. You need to keep up to speed with project management and other aspects, because one of your strengths is that you are very adaptable, and your expertise and skills can be maximized almost immediately by an employer. However, at the same time, your specific expertise might not be really exactly the one that they're looking for. So you need to become strong at making a case. And in order to make a case, you have to do a lot of exercise with conversations. You need to talk to people. You need to look at yourself as someone with a potential portfolio career, not necessarily as a specialist. Obviously, there are people who are specialists in their own area, which is fine, and if I think, for example, an event manager in a mature industry in North America, that's a full profession, so but at the same time, there are skills that you can acquire in parallel with your general expertise. And so we as a career advisor, we really recommend people to be open to step up some of their skills, which you can now step up easily because you can take a course, you can maybe shadow someone. So it doesn't necessarily have to be through structured education. It could be, for example, shadowing a colleague in your organization. And that helps you, on one hand, acquire some specific skills, and also, on the other hand, to become aware of those skills. So maybe you are not the one that is going to be asked to put those skills in practice, but you are the one who is maybe going to have to hire somebody with those skills. So you need to be a very integrated profile. That is something that we try to emphasize for our delegates and alumni as much as we can. And again, the last thing I would say: don't forget that your job is part of the greater media and entertainment industry, and that is fascinating, because it's about working with people, it's about working with communication, it's about working with digital technologies, and it's a lot of opportunities.
100%. Thank you so much, Michele. I think that was great advice. A great way to end our conversation here, but maybe just to start a conversation that will be continued next week with people visiting the Education Virtual Expo, where you'll be with your colleagues from the Josoor Institute. There is, let's hi here to José Luis watching in Brazil.
Hi, José. Boa tarde.
Michele, don't go anywhere. I call you just on 1 second. Just want to give a last reminder to everyone that is watching that, again, so if you like this, we're closing this week of the Meet the Programs week. We had the University of Liverpool, the Johan Cruyff Institute, ASTS, and we closed today with the Josoor Institute. They all, and many others, another 11 programs will be at the Education Virtual Expo next week. So you can see here, there is a link in the description. So if you're interested in it, it's free to attend. Just go and register, and we look forward to seeing you there. I want to thank everyone that participated, sent questions and comments. It's great to see. I'm always amazed to see that we really touch everywhere in the world. It's great. I hope to see you back. And also for people that are watching and attending the Education Expo next week, on Monday, we're going to do a live demo of the platform, so everybody will understand very well how it works if you're not clear about it yet. So, Michele, thanks again, and I'll be seeing you very soon.
Thank you, Joao, and thank you so much, everyone, for your time. It's been great to be with you guys this evening.